welcome back to another Me and My Body Confidence interview. Today I've got Evengelina. She is, she's so many things. She's a homeschool mum of many, wife, nutritionist, Reiki master, healer, medium. She's lots of different things. And I wanted to speak to her because apart from the fact she's got 8 children and manages to look fabulous, she's a nutritionist and a healer, so I wanted to find out her opinions on all things body confidence. And she's done a brilliant interview, and there's a couple of really moving things in it, especially when she talks about her mother. So let's crack on. This is Evengelina.
Hello, my name is Evengelina Peckham Stark-Harries. I am 46 years old. I am a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and a business owner. I was very blessed to have been born into a family where it is quite traditional to have gifts handed down from birth, and then went on to widen and broaden my horizons as I fell in love with the natural side of what healing can be achieved through Mother Nature and energy and so on. I started work when I was 16 as in the field of sort of tarot, oracle readings, any kind of mediumship you can think of, so psychic and just connection with spirit in general. Then that in turn led to being taught as well the crystal ball and every single bit of divination that you can think of. I am now a fully qualified tarot master with letters after my name. I'm a medium, is what I'm most known for, probably. However, that fast took over when I fell in love with learning. I had a mother who believed very much so in education, and I was obsessed like a sponge. The way that things work nowadays, though, you kind of need to have insurance for everything. So you do need to have the correct qualifications in order to get the insurance you need to get out there in the world and make the change that you want to. That led to me getting a lot of qualifications in a lot of different things. I have a list behind the camera, which I am going to be flicking back and forth reading because there is quite a few and I don't want to miss anything out. I am first and foremost, like I said, a medium and tarot and nutritionist. That kind of one led into another that led into another. So I'll take it from the top that I've written down. Transformational coach, life coach, business coach, life purpose coach, nutritionist, child nutritionist, vegan fasting and raw foods advisor, naturopathic advisor. I'm also qualified in foraging, which is one of my favorite things to do, especially with the children. Hypnotherapist, regression hypnotherapist. I am an award-winning herbalist and culinary healer, NLP master practitioner, neuroplasticity, which is all about rewiring the brain, goddess empowerment, of course, motivational speaker and advisor, forensic criminal psychology. Believe me, it does kind of fit into the field of what I do, but I was also a little bit obsessed with the brain and how it worked. So for me, forensic criminal psychology went in really well with the NLP because it's all about how the brain works and why we think the way we do, why we do the things we do, which fascinates me. Body language, again, not everybody opens up, and it's not a way to kind of override anything that's being said, but somebody can tell you one thing but their body is saying another, and that's really important when we're trying to heal someone, whether that is an energy heal or even a pain ailment. So believe me, it is really important to be able to read people, because 90% of what someone is saying is in the eyes or in the body movements, not actually what comes out of their mouth. Reiki master, crystal healer, aura cleansing, chakra alignment, karmic cord cutting, very important for letting go of the past, color therapist, aromatherapist, and quite literally a million more things, which I won't bore you with. However, the very first post on my business page does go in detail into everything that I am qualified in. I think first and foremost, though, I'm qualified in being a mother because even though I have 7 children, 3 boys and 4 girls. I have actually had 8 children, and I lost a son, my husband and I, many years ago. One of our sons passed away. So there's a lot of what I do and what I've become qualified in that as well, because that changes a person and it also changes the perspective on life. So I felt it was important in my pain to follow where I was being led, and it has brought me to a very exciting way of living, which I do thoroughly enjoy. And I do thoroughly enjoy helping people get to be the best that they can potentially be. That's the main goal. So inside out, top to bottom, health, in what, you know, I'm qualified in wellness and well-being as well, and children's well-being, mental as well as physical. So it's all very relevant really as to why the journey in education and everything that I was given naturally as gifts when I was born to becoming what you see here before you today, which is, I'd like to think, a mismatch of everything you need. The Evengelina survival guide to being a woman and a mother and a wife and a business owner in today's modern times.
Question 1. You're qualified in many areas, including nutrition. Do you feel society is obsessed with what bodies look like rather than being healthy? How can we remedy this?
Question 1 is probably one that I get asked a lot. I do find that there is an obsession with how you look rather than health, although it's a grey area, because there are times where I see a lot of change happening. Young people are aware of what they eat a little bit more now. Veganism became very trendy at one point. I myself am vegan, vegetarian and so on. That's the concern, is that things become a trend rather than a complete turnaround of realization in what is good for you and what is not good for you. I myself, like I said, grew up with body dysmorphia, and for my children seeing me, I didn't realize the impact my words had when I was a lot younger, of course, as to how I do now. You have to be so mindful what you say around children. They're like sponges, they soak it all in. So if you think out loud and you say, oh my God, I look awful, I look fat in this, I hate myself, you know, your children are going to copy this image. So unfortunately, it does start at home. Being okay, inclusive, the LGBTQ movement have done a lot for being aware of what people are going through, their transformation maybe from male to female or vice versa. But of course it goes a lot deeper than that. When we don't know where to turn, how to be, we always look to the magazines or the TV programs, which isn't always a good idea. I don't advocate magazines. We don't have magazines or newspapers in my house. I don't watch reality TV as a rule, unless there's someone on there that I know, and of course, but it's not a case of having to shield your children from this. You know, we can't cotton wool them all the time, but you can talk to them and you can explain to them that this person might be going through something very different to you. You know, you don't have that same issue as that person, so don't let that soak into your energy field, if that makes sense. It's always going to be the start of education at home. School doesn't kick in till a child's 4 or 5, unless you homeschool. There's no way on earth I would send my children to high school nowadays. We homeschool our youngest child now. She's the only one in school at the moment though, because it is probably more damaging. The education isn't what it should be anyway. It's not what it should be at all, in my opinion. And even though she has private tutors for maths and English, the rest of it is just null and void. There's not enough teaching of how to be in this world. I don't think there are teachers out there in schools at the moment who can promote healthy lifestyle, healthy well-being, mindfulness, the damage that a voice can do, a damage that words can do. you have to show your child from the beginning, you know, just because they grow, you still shower them with love, don't you? Because that's how we grow. But I feel that it is really important, the conversations that you have. The only remedy for showing a child nowadays that these perfect pictures that you see are, you know, photoshopped and not what you think they are, is by explaining, is by telling them that, you know, this is a world that we're transported away from our rat race or from school day, work day. You know, this is a magical sort of world where everything is perfect. But what you need to realize is that you are perfect. You are already perfect. And yes, you know, we sort of almost say it tongue in cheek, because, you know, we dye our hair and we wear makeup and, you know, put nice clothes on, wear black to make us look slimming or whatever. The little, you know, everyone has got these tricks, but you need to show them that whatever you need to do to make you feel included in the world, or that makes you feel beautiful, or that makes you feel you can get up in the morning and take that day by storm, is fine. If you need to dye your hair black and wear black lipstick, great. That's what makes you beautiful. It's your individuality that makes you beautiful. You know, if you want to get up in the morning and you don't want to put a scrap of makeup on because you are so confident in yourself, that's fantastic. But it's that encouragement to be you. You have to find what makes your child tick, their interests, what they love, who they like. I mean, you know, encouragement is the key to being yourself. So that's my personal opinion, that it starts at home, and that personal element that makes that child them is what you should really focus on. That way they're in their own arena where they can step forward and be themselves. If we try to make every child exactly the same, or if we can't be bothered with the chat, then there's going to be problems later on when they're teenagers growing up. So it's encouragement of being yourself is the key.
Question 2. Would you recommend loving yourself back to health rather than putting your body through extreme diets and surgery to look a certain way?
Question 2. There are always going to be fad diets around. Surgery is always going to be around. Loving yourself is a difficult journey, especially if you have had things in your life go wrong. I mean, you know, one person says one thing and your whole life can crumble, especially for women, you know, in a row or something horrible. If your partner, your man, your husband, your wife, whatever, turns around and tells you you're fat, even if they didn't mean it and it was in the heat of the moment, that is soul destroying and can seriously send you onto this, you know, roller coaster ride with yourself and your diet. Diet has been changed, the word and how we see it nowadays. We see it as meaning changing everything you do and everything you eat. That's not the case. You know, a diet is about what you do day to day, how you eat day to day. The only thing that is ever going to work is sensible eating. You have to take into account your day-to-day lifestyle. You have to take into account your age, your height, your weight, what you want to get to, and how to safely get to it. Fad diets are never going to work. We know that. We've all done them. I've done them. I've done every single fad diet there is in the universe. They will even take a diet and rebrand it. Now, years ago, you'll all remember the Atkins diet. Huge fad. Everybody did it. I did it. Why the hell would you do it? It was fried food mainly. But you know, because you have to have fried eggs and fried bacon and whatever. You know, wouldn't touch bacon with a barge pole, but you know what I mean. You know, they've renamed it now. They've taken it and they've renamed it, and it's keto. Have a look. It's exactly the same. menu as it was for Atkins, and yet everybody slated Atkins. Will everyone slate keto? But somebody realized that it made a lot of money. It made Dr. Atkins a lot of money, a very rich person, and you know, someone jumped on that now with keto, same thing. So you have to come to see somebody, a nutritionist, who knows what is going to work for you, because it is about your age, it is about your weight, what you do eat, what you can eat, what you don't like. You know, you have to take into account there are so many things, like you don't like certain food, or there's allergies. So in just following a fad diet that happens to be in whatever women's magazine there are out there nowadays that chuck these diets in, or what's trending on whatever social media you may follow, yeah, they may work for some people. Like I remember when Beyonce did the lemonade diet, and all she was doing was, you know, drinking lemon, honey, and I forget, it was one of the spices, and cayenne pepper. Yeah, it's great. It's a great colon cleanser, don't get me wrong, but it was reported that she was practically living on it, and she lost like 20 pounds in a week or something. Well, yeah, of course it'll do it. But, you know, if you're a woman, then whether you've had children, if you're going to have children, your weight is going to yo-yo all the time throughout your life as a woman. You know, having your periods, you're going to bloat, you're going to have water weight. Going through the menopause, I'm premenopausal now, loving life, but you know, you carry more water, hormone changes, things change. So having a fad diet is not going to do it, but correct balanced nutrition and exercise is going to help maintain that weight for you. Surgery, I have no issues. I mean, I breastfed 7 children, so I was fine up until, I say child number 8, because obviously, you know, we lost a son, and technically she is child number 8. She breastfed for 16 months, and diet and exercise, these were great, these were doing fantastic, until she got on them for 16 months, and I had surgery because it was my right as a woman that I wanted to, you know, feel like a woman again, rather than, they were like, oh my God, tennis balls in socks. I'm not going to lie. I've got to be honest, because everybody who knows me, who watches, will expect my honesty. So there you go. I'm pretty blunt with the truth. And I'm being on my best behaviour whilst doing this lovely interview right now. But that's the truth. You know, they were not what they should be. And, you know, I was very aware of how I looked. And yes, I was younger again, but that was always going to be my thing, was I was going to have that. But it was, you know, it was right for me, and it's still right for me now. But diet and exercise wasn't going to get them back where I wanted them, or the size I wanted them, or how I wanted them to be. So, you know, modern medicine, I've always said, surgery always has its place. One thing I can't do is surgically remove or add or whatever something to someone. Find your diagnosis, find out what it is in your diet, find out if it is something that's, you know, sort of mental health wise, that you're not happy with yourself. Get that fixed first. That is self-love. Once you find out what the underlying energy is, at the real root, at the bottom of everything that's causing you the pain when you look at yourself, when you find that and you tackle that first, then rethink, this extreme diet's going to work, or this massive surgery is going to work. At the end of the day, you have to be okay here. You have to be okay here and here, knowing who you are, knowing your true self, and your real beauty, and what you have to offer. I mean, if you're surrounded by people who love you, then you can't be a bad person, can you? Even those people who aren't surrounded by immediate family have friends, or they even have pets who adore them and love them. You know, you are loved. There is someone or something that loves you. You need to see yourself through that person's eyes. Once you do, and then you really commit to rewiring your train of thought about yourself, there's always something that's happened that has made somebody not love themselves. Once you want to start on a journey of changing you, whether it's physical appearance or whatever, when you start that journey, it has to come from a place of I love myself and I'm doing this because I love myself. Because, you know, with surgery as well, once you've had it done, it's very difficult to undo it. Extreme diets, you know, if there's a problem and somebody can't stop extreme dieting and it's becoming dangerous, whether it's because you use dieting in the right terms, whether it's obesity or whether it's, you know, the other end of the scale with anorexia or bulimia, then it is a psychological assessment that's needed, you know, that help to start trying to untangle what's going on within. Just to go to extreme dieting or surgery all the time, if that's not working and you think, oh, once I have that done, I'll love myself, or once I do this diet, I'll love myself, well, straight away, if you're saying that diet or that surgery is not going to work for you, it is not going to make you love yourself. Healing your heart, understanding a past trauma, putting it in perspective, getting it in the place where it should be. My mother always used to say, get it in the right compartment and store it away properly in the right segment of your brain, and then you'll be able to move forward. And that is what you need to do first. So if everything you're doing is not making you love yourself, even when you're saying, after I reach that goal, you're always going to move the goalposts. It's never going to work for you. So make sure that you start you kickstart your new health regime or your goal to look a certain way with, do I like myself? When you like yourself, you will then begin to learn everything about your vessel inside and out, and you'll be able to move towards that perfect picture that you want. But to be honest, you've got a good heart, then that picture's already pretty perfect. So yes, start with loving yourself first. Start with finding out who you are and what you bring to the table, type of thing. And if you don't feel like you bring anything to the table, but you've got a lot to give, well, find a table to bring it to. And then I guarantee you the obsession with extreme dieting or surgery will fade into the background.
Question 3. You're a women's empowerment advisor. Do you see a link between people's body confidence and how empowered they feel in other aspects of their life?
Question 3 is really interesting to me. I don't know if it's because I'm a Taurus. I am a casserole of nonsense, we joke in my house. I'm very, very contradictory, but somehow it seems to work for me. There is definitely a link between body confidence and the way you present yourself then in the outside world. For me, I can walk into any place, completely own it. But it comes from a core strength. You know, I might be thinking, I look hideously huge today, and I'm not. If you look at the, if you go by size, clothes size, I'm not. I can wear a size 4. I can wear a size 8. Never above that, and yet I can feel like I am the most humongous person on the planet. And it doesn't matter what anybody says. If I'm feeling like that, especially being the stubborn Taurus I am, if I'm feeling like that, it's best to just run and not talk to me and just leave me alone, because I really am a bear with a sore head. And yet at the same time, I can muster up that strength as a woman's empowerment coach, which I am. I've always had that kind of raw strength inside me, and I believe that it's because I was raised by extremely strong women. My mother, my grandmother, and my grandfather's relationship with my grandmother, and watching how he worshipped her and how she commanded that worship. It wasn't because she thought she was better than him, or she thought she was, wonderful and, loved herself crazy, but it was because she knew her worth. She knew her worth. She was an incredible woman. They used to call her the Duchess. She used to dress like the Queen. Always a hat, always a handbag, matching shoes, matching coat. My mother was the same, and I'm the same. It's the hat, the shoes, the gloves, the coat, the bag, more importantly than what's underneath, But yeah, she expected the door to be opened for her. She expected to be treated like queen. Don't get me wrong, she could, you know, do whatever she needed to. She never swore, never raised her voice, didn't need to. She commanded this sort of goddess power in her, and she's such a warm-hearted, kind, beautiful woman, as was my mother. Both have passed, and seeing the way that neither of those women would take crap from anyone. My mother certainly never stood for anything. It was all about me. Everything was about me, putting me first. I do have brothers and sisters from my father, but not from my mother. It was just myself and my mother. And all her energy went into empowering me. One of the very first things I remember her saying to me, and this comes back to education starting at home, and if you are a parent, you have got the most important job on the planet. Nothing else is more important. You have this innocent mind that you could mold. You could mold it into a hot mess. You could mold it into a psychopathic murderer. You could mold it into, you know, this is how vulnerable the brain is. Or you could mold it into an extremely strong, confident woman. I've seen mothers who regret decisions they've made, and then they see their daughters having this clean slate life type of thing, and they've really put their daughters down, and there's no confidence. They're really critical, or they push them too much, you know, or they, you know, it comes across that they want them to do so well, but really what they're doing is beating themselves up via their children. It all starts with who's in your ear. If you tell a child enough times they're stupid, they're going to believe they're stupid. They drop something, they make a mess. Oh, for God's sake, how stupid are you? They don't hear the rest. All they hear is stupid. You know, it's a powerful tool you've got there, your voice, and molding these children. And my mother, I remember when I was in school, years ago, we used to go to one of the Olympic sized pools, and it had all the diving boards, and I was in a swimming club just because Mama wanted me to be able to learn to swim. She didn't expect me to be an Olympic swimmer, but she wanted me to have all the tools that if any reason I needed to pull on them to survive, I could, and swimming was one of them. And she said, if you don't feel confident jumping off that board, it was the first test of the board jumping, then you don't need to. I was 7 or 8 years old. And I said, but Mama, you know, they make you do it. I've seen them with the other children, you know, they make you do it. You have to do it. And she said, my girl, you do not have to do anything that you do not want to do. Nobody in this world has the power to make you do what you do not want to do. And if anybody says to you, you've got to do it, you turn around to them and you say, well, my mother says that I don't have to. She said, because that sentence, my darling, will back you up for your whole life. And there are times as an adult where I've laughed at myself, where I've sort of refused to do something that I didn't want to do. And in the back of my mind, I could hear my mum's voice going, and my mum said I didn't have to. But having that backup from her, having that okay from her, you know, everything I ever did was okay by her. When I got it wrong, I never ever saw myself like other girls in our school. I always knew that I was very different, and that does come from my heritage, you know, it does come from my background and my heritage and what I am. But I could feel it, I could sense it, and everybody else knew as well in school. And I went to the best schools there were, the church schools as well. And I could see and sense that people treated me differently, and I could see and sense that I didn't understand how they did things, and I didn't follow, like, whatever I was being told or we were being taught, and if it didn't resonate with me, I couldn't sort of open my mind enough to understand what they were talking about. And, you know, Mummy used to say to me, well, no, because, you know, you see the world very differently. You know, there is no box there inside the box. When they say think outside the box, She said that won't resonate with you, my darling, because you've never been in a box. And that's what we need to remember, is whatever we are teaching our children is going to stay with them forever, and is primarily what is going to go into your grandchild, your grandchildren. And unless a vicious cycle is broken of girls being told they can only do certain things, they shouldn't do this, or they should do this, or they shouldn't do that, or whatever it is, unless that cycle's broken and people are allowed to determine for themselves what they can and can't do, there's going to be a problem in that link with being super confident in the world, the workplace, to feeling self-empowered. Being self-empowered is not, oh my God, I love myself. And, it's not about that. It's being strong enough to question. Just because someone has a white coat on, I gotta be careful what I say. I don't care if someone's got a white coat on. I'm not interested, because I know what I know. And I know that people get it wrong, so I can question you. And empowerment starts from knowing that gut feeling that something doesn't feel right, and being able to feel free enough and strong enough to question it. Don't ever be scared to question authority. They are not God. They are not the God of your life. You are the God of your life. You are the one that has to pay your bills and live how you live and bring up who you bring up and determine what your world looks like. Nobody else. No one else. If something doesn't feel right or isn't sitting right with you, that is your gut telling you. And about empowering yourself, that starts with a very simple thing of, if something doesn't feel right, I'm going to speak up and say it. Don't ever be afraid of anyone. I've never been afraid to question anyone. In fact, if I knew I had to question someone, I would research and research and research until I knew more than they knew about the subject. Then I'd go get them. Fear is the biggest block in our lives of living the life we want, or being with the person we want to be with, or being the person we want to be as well. But trust me, the other side of fear is your dreams. So you just got to break through it. Just do it. What? You're not going in anywhere and, ripping down organizations, or, you're not going in there to like terrorize people or hurt them or whatever. But you too have the right to live and be exactly how you want to be and live. That's the beauty of being empowered. It's knowing your worth, just like my grandmother did all those years ago. Knowing your worth, and you have a right to command your worth just like the next person does. But then that comes with respect. Then when someone gives you respect, you give respect back, and so on and so on. But you have to respect yourself first. There's a massive link between being empowered and confidence going into the world. They're very, very two different things. Being empowered to be confident and being confident to be empowered, it's not that difficult. One day you just need to take that step forward and say, do you know what? I've had enough. I need to, get my point across. And that's the day that your life will change. There is a difference then when you have that person behind you. Not everyone was that blessed to have someone behind them that pushed them to not be scared to question things or question people. But you don't even have to have that. You can do it yourself. You can change that yourself, and you can give it to your loved ones too. But having that power of knowing that there's someone there to back you up, but you can back you up as well. I got me. I got this. Yeah, there's a great link between it, and it's something that every woman should be gifted with, the power to have the confidence to say no. It doesn't matter what you say to me. It doesn't matter what your opinion of me is. That's your opinion of me. Really, that's what you think of yourself. So I'm going to stick with what I know, and I'm going to keep on questioning, keep on fighting, keep on getting stronger, and keep on moving forward. Confidence to be you is the key to having the best life you can possibly have.
Question 4. When did you become interested in nutrition and alternative medicines? Has this changed how you treat your body?
I've always been, to answer question 4, honestly, I was always brought up with nutrition and being healthy as a forefront runner in my life. My father is a top chef. He was very well known around the world in the 60s. And he was also a chief pâtissier and travelled the world. We also travelled with him until they divorced when I was probably about 6, I think. My mother has always been a massive advocate for healthy eating. The majority of my herbalism comes from her and my grandmother. We would always, I can show you bits and pieces. We're in my kitchen right now where I do most of my work. Like, for example, this is my very own dandelion tea that I make myself when I go out foraging. I've got nettle tea as well, where we go out and forage to do all the bits and pieces. And they were the most wonderful times. I was put into martial arts. Normally the girls in my culture sort of do dancing and what have you, but I was tiny, really super tiny, and my mother was very worried, and my father had been a champion bare knuckle boxer, and she saw this little sort of fight in me, and I got put into martial arts because she needed me to be able to protect myself, defend myself and what have you, a little bit like the whole swimming thing, you know. And therefore I started my martial arts career. I think I was probably 6, 7, 8, and then it went on right up until my very late teens, would be just before I got pregnant for my first child. So exercise, I just loved it. I loved the regiment of it. I loved the discipline of it. I loved the hard ethic that came with it as well. I've never really had a sweet tooth. I'm not a sweet tooth person. Crisps are my downfall. Don't tell anyone, because obviously I'm really healthy. But crisps are, you know, these awful things that are man-made. But, you know, then as you get older, of course, you realise that there are ways you can sort of get around that, like making your own aubergine crisps are really nice. But yes, there was a massive change then where I became qualified in nutrition, and it was because my mother became poorly and I didn't have a lot of time to create a miracle and fix her, heal her. I questioned the consultant within an inch of their life to when they heard me coming down the corridor in my high heels, everyone would scatter. Because obviously I was learning more and more in a very short space of time. I was still running children's school, running children's college, taking the older children back and forth to work because everyone had to lift with me. I don't like my children to you know, be anywhere on their own. I take them and pick them up every day and wherever possible. And I spent practically all of my time studying, researching, sitting exams. And when it sort of dawned on me that the key to her getting well wasn't fake crap that they wanted to pummel her with, but it was, you know, nutrition and vitamins and minerals. People don't understand the critical input vitamins have and minerals have for our bodies and for how we live, alternative medicines, herbalism and so on. So I had one of those eureka moments where I was in the hospital and Mama hadn't eaten for a little while and she said, I fancy an omelette. So they said, no problem, we've got that, we'll go and get it. And about, I don't know, 4 minutes later, because she wasn't far from the little makeshift kitchen in the hospital that they've got, I heard a ping, which was a microwave, and we don't use microwave, wouldn't have a microwave in my home. And I I thought, oh, we'll count down now, and sort of counted a bit, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you had the footsteps come in, and on this awful white plate came this rubber looking folded in half piece of crap. I didn't say anything. They put it down in front of Mama. Be careful, it's not hot. I could see my husband staring at me and him thinking, oh dear God, something's brewing. She's going to explode in a minute. And he sort of moved certain things out of the way and folded up. My dad was folding up and tidying away and just creating space for me, he was, because when I go off on when I like to walk. And my mama put the first bite in her mouth and threw up everywhere. It went on to be a half an hour discussion loudly on the ward with the sister in charge about nutrition, to which then the consultant came in and told me that, you know, Mama needs to get her strength, so she's allowed to eat whatever she wants at the moment in order to put weight on. Well, dear God, if a few years ago you felt a ripple across the earth, that was probably me kicking off in the hospital. I had some choice words with the consultant. I demanded that they bring me papers to sign so that I could release her. They said it wasn't possible. I said, yes, it is possible. Either sign the papers or I'm just taking her because she's not your prisoner. You haven't got any right over her lawfully to keep her here, but I do because I'm her next of kin. So guess what's happening? What I want is going to happen. What you want matters to no one. Within an hour, we had Mama in the car and we brought her home. I asked her to trust me. She said implicitly, my darling. And we embarked on a intense nutritional journey where I put together a complete health plan for her. It was alternative medication, it was vitamins, it was minerals, it was food. Within, oh God, they only gave me 3 months. 4 months later, I still had her and was on our journey of healing her, and then another month after that she went back for the scan and they couldn't believe that she was still here. There's no way she should have been. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we completely got rid of what they couldn't with the food and the healing, with the alternatives and the vitamins and minerals. I probably had a year-long migraine from all the work that I was doing and putting into it, but there was nothing more important than this and that proof that it can be done and can happen. Unfortunately, years previous to me being qualified in all this as well, Mama had the worst thing that you could possibly have, which was chemo, and that had already signed her death warrant because the damage had already been done. And even though I managed to get her cancer clear and keep her cancer clear, she then passed away on our eldest daughter's birthday from chemo-related damages to the lining of the organs, causing complete failure and shutdown. So yes, that really was the biggest start of my journey into healing. And I also know from the spiritual side that Mama passed because if she'd have stayed, then I would have been sat on her lap, cuddling her and loving her and kissing her and telling her how much I love her for the rest of my life. And I would not have gone on to do the things that I've done for other women and other people in the 4 years now that she's passed. But then, just like her, to put me first and be selfless, she helped teach me that magic is real and that nutrition, herbalism and Mother Nature is the answer to pretty much everything. And she wasn't wrong because we actually, we proved it and we did it. So yes, that was the beginning of why this is so vitally important to me. Probably didn't do a lot in the first year because of the sucker punch that did bring. I wasn't expecting that to be the outcome. However, 4 years on completely, nearly 5 years on completely, this February the 1st come in, I can see now that her passing was for a much bigger reason ongoing in life, which is to get that word out there. And in the the second year that she passed, I prevented or helped, because they did the work themselves, obviously, but there was 3 suicides, and a lot of empowerment and helping women come out of really bad relationships, or giving them the power to feel confident and wonderful as they were, and doing a lot of health programs for losing weight and weight loss and mindfulness management. So yeah, had she not passed, I literally would have spent the rest of my life sat on her lap, kissing her, telling her how much I love her. So from a spiritual point of view, I understand why it had to happen and the lessons that were learned from it. From a human point of view, it's devastating. I've never felt an emotional pain like it. Different when my son passed, because I was the mother, but when the child is left behind, I don't know, it really is soul destroying. But then because of her love and her teachings, and that of my grandmother's as well, I somehow managed to scramble my way back up from that pit of despair, and here I am. So yeah, that was the biggest turning point for my journey, starting off as a nutritionist and then moving on to naturopathic, then veganism, then fasting and raw foods and so on. So yeah, there was definitely a big turning point. Even though it's always been there, I was always told that I would go into this as a young adult, and I was always like, no I won't, what are you on about? Natural? No, I'm not. I don't want to do that. I kind of loved what I was doing anyway with the tarot and the crystal ball and the mediumship and what have you. And then, boom, there you go. It's become one of the biggest parts of me now. So,
Question 5. What advice would you give someone struggling with body confidence issues?
Question 5. The best advice really to give with body confidence: everything is a journey and takes time. If you're having a bad day, the most important thing that you need to remember is that's today. You will feel different tomorrow. You can have a bad week, you can have a bad month, you can have a bad year. God knows most of us have had a bad year this year. However, every day something little is different. You need to remove yourself from what's going on. The first step is always the hardest, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. So get rid of everything that you think you know. If you're struggling with body confidence, find something about you that you do like. It could be your hair. So zhuzh it up, enhance it, start there. It could be your lips. Grab a new colour lipstick and try that out. Deflect, change something that you can change. The only thing that really is going to work for someone to be body confident is to realise that every single person in the world, even the people that you might look up to. I remember someone saying, having a conversation, someone saying, oh my God, so if you could be anyone, who would you want to be? And all my friends were like, oh my God, if I could be anyone, I'd be so-and-so because they're married to so-and-so and he's gorgeous, famous people. Or, oh my God, I'd love, I don't know, Beyonce because I love her voice, or blah blah, I love this, whatever. J-Lo's got an incredible butt, la 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 la. And they came to me, of course, and everyone's waiting for my answer, I can assure you, because I never kind of give the answer that anyone thinks I will. They're all like, what do you think of Angelina? And someone piped up and said, oh, I know who she'd want to be. And I said, oh yeah. I said, who's that then? And they said, Angelina Jolie, of course. And I said, oh right. I said, why would I want to be her? And they said, well, you love her. And I said, I love her films. I said, yeah. I said, I relate to Lara Croft because I'm a lady, but I wouldn't be afraid to whip your butt. Love Wanted, love to go run around the city, you know, shooting at bad guys and whatever, you know. I said, but why on earth would I want to be her? And they said, why wouldn't you? She's married to Brad Pitt. She's got children, and she's, you know, got money and this and the other. I said, well, one, I don't fancy Brad Pitt, so that's not for me. My husband looks like Jared Butler. I'll stick with that. Thank you very much. I said, two, yes, she's blessed with 6 beautiful children. You know, she hasn't given birth to all of them, which is an incredible position to be in, whereby you can have the means to be able to adopt and to help. I really do admire that. It was something that we always wanted to do. I said, but then I've had 2 more than her, so I've got 8 children, even though one's in spirit, so I feel more blessed there. I said, money, I said, I don't want for anything. Pretty much anything we want to do, I can do. Pretty much everything I want, I've got, I can have, it's not a problem. I said, so that's not an issue. I said, but I'm probably richer than her, and she'd probably want to swap places with me because she had to have a double mastectomy. I would never want that in my life, ever, not for anything. And I bet she wouldn't either, not for all the money in the world. You know, she lost her mother as well, young, like I did, and what have you. I said, you know, that health issue that runs in that family. I said, no, thank you. I wouldn't swap being me with anyone. I'm extremely happy with who I am, where I am, what I've got. And if I don't like what I've got and I don't like where I am, I change it, because I know I've got the power to do that, and only I've got the power to do that. I can make a decision today that could change my life and my whole family's life. Like, God forbid I wouldn't do it, but I could say to my husband tonight, I want a divorce, and then we go our separate ways and my life has changed. Or I'm going to be a stripper now and I'm not going to do what I do. You know, I could change my life drastically with my voice. So what you need to remember is nobody's life is perfect for them. You might not think you know, everything you've got is perfect, but you know who you are and what you've been given in your life, whether it's your talent, your family, your friends, your work, your abilities, your body and whatever, that's perfect for you. Like, people look at my marriage and my family. I do a lot of lives and I love everyone. Come be friends, come follow, come join. And you know, I do lots and lots and lots and lots of different types of lives on my personal pages. And people say, oh my God, you know, oh, it's so beautiful and your house is so beautiful and everything is so perfect. And yeah, for me, but the things that I've got to do, like I suffer with migraines, so after an intense live, or if I've been working and I've been doing readings or whatever, I could be down for 2 or 3 days with the most horrific migraine where I am throwing up. I mean, it is not glamorous, it is not pretty, and there is not lipstick on it. Nobody would want to swap that with anyone. You know, we all have our ailments. I suffer with psoriasis, so everything can look perfect, and I say to everyone, yeah, it looks great in clothes, but you've never seen me on a beach in a bikini, and you never will, because it's not for me anyway. But I suffer with psoriasis. Sometimes it's all over me, sometimes there's nothing. You know, we all have things. I'm very open with what I believe are negatives, if you like, but everybody has it. So everyone's like, oh, Angelina Jolie's married to Brad Pitt, how perfect. Well, it turned out that he was a bit of a dick, didn't it? Would you want that dick? No, I don't think so. As in person, not sexually, no. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't. That was a big saying my mum always used to say. Behind closed doors, we do not know what's going on. I don't give a damn what anyone's photographs look like. I could have taken 500 photographs before I post the actual photograph I've posted. The lighting wasn't right. My nose looked too big. I didn't like the colour on my lips, so I've changed it. Do you know what I mean? I look fat. It's a bad angle, bad lighting. My hair, there was a hair out of place. I look mental. Nothing is perfect. I try not to use filters in my photographs. I mean, you see photographs of me, you see me here I am live, pretty close. There's no filters here. This is just my normal video on my phone. This is my phone. It's not even, I'm in my kitchen. The lighting is awful, even though my beautiful Tiffany lampshade is gorgeous. But it's about your energy, it's about your aura. When people hide it with filters and what have you, and always put a flash on when you take a photograph, oh my god, you look a million times better. People say, what filter do you use? And I go, I don't. I use the flash. Even in daylight, I have the flash on, and it is just wonderful, because we all know lighting is the way forward, but it's about the realization that what is perceived is only the best of what people want to see. I post warts and all. If you ever join me and come and friend me and find me, I told you my name at the beginning. Normally the dogs are being brilliant. I got 4 dogs. They're being brilliant at the moment. They bark and bark and bark. 3 rescues. They're my world. They bark and bark and bark, and you'll see me swearing and whatever, but not in a nasty way. It's just like, oh, for God's sake, that kind of thing. 3 of my children are on my lives a lot. Everybody knows Jordan, Geordie boy, and everybody knows the beautiful Jasmine, Gypsy Jasmine, our youngest, perfection. They're called perfections on my children, and they're all involved, and and what have you. My husband, he's always involved, but everything is very real. You have to be real, and the world of modeling, the world of film and TV, I've got a lot of friends that have done reality TV, and very well known people that are good friends of mine, the clients, and very good friends as well, just to put that across too. But even they'll tell you that, yeah, it's supposed to be real life, but it's set up, we have to do it this way. We have to, before you go on to do that, can you just have a little fight first? And they're like, why? Because that'll make that, a declaration then of love that they want to do even better. Everything is fake. You have to realize not everyone is as well off as you think they are, emotionally, physically. Everyone has got ailments. There are so many, especially people in the limelight. They are constantly doing something to make themselves look better, feel better about themselves. Their relationships, half the time, a stage, how many have we seen that are publicity stunts and whatever? That's why I don't buy into it. That's why I don't, I love films and I love documentaries. Don't get me wrong. I love documentaries, and I love certain films. I love getting away from it. I write as well. So for me, films are wonderful. But when they say they're reality TV shows, they're really not. Even Big Brother was edited when that was on. What a pile of crap that was to watch. You have to realize that your life is for you. What might be perfect for someone else would not be perfect for you. I say to everyone, yeah, it looks perfect. My husband and my relationship, we look perfect. I said, and we are for each other. But if some stupid person wants to come in and try and take that, oh my darling, go for it, have him. You'd send him back within a week and you wouldn't have got very far, I can assure you. Whether I'd have him back or not is another thing, of course. And besides, if you do want him, guess what? You get stuck with me as well for the rest of your life. 4 dogs, 7 children, 1 insane granddaughter, and a goldfish called Jeff, because I will be there forever, because we're his family, right? So whatever's perfect for someone else, trust me, would not be perfect for you. There isn't a woman in the world that I would want to trade places with. All because I know the power that I have within to make my life how I want to, and also the power that I have within to assist beautiful women becoming who they want to be as well. So realize what you've got around you. Or, you know, I don't have a husband or children, if that's the goal, and you know, all my friends have. Yeah, but look at it. Do the husbands help? Are they really wonderful? Do the kids do nothing but moan or scream or whatever? Would you really want that? Or when you shut the door at the end of the day and you go home, do you think, yeah, I think I'll wait for what's for me, thank you, because they deal with that quite well. You have to put things into perspective. You are what you are because we need your energy in the world. You are who you are because we need you in this world, and you will have what you're meant to have because it will be perfect for you.
Question 7. What advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Question 7. Gosh. I was always from a very young age, from the age of 14, I knew exactly what I was doing. From the age of 14, I wanted 6 children. I got greedy because they were amazing. I had 8. What would I tell my 16-year-old self now? I'm going to show you something. So this, I got 2 pictures here. This is a picture of me in high school. See them black roots coming through? And then this is me 2 years-ish later. I had just had my first daughter. I was 17. She was born February and I turned 18 in the May. And there I am. And there she is. So it would be a year before this. What advice would I give her? There are going to be times, my darling, where you think the whole world is against you. There are going to be times, my darling, where you feel you can't carry on. There are going to be times, my darling, where you feel like everything is on you. The one piece of advice that always stuck with me from Mama, and that I have passed on and tweaked to my children, was when you feel like you can't carry on, you just dig a little bit deeper, because you have got more strength in you than you can possibly imagine. Just like a tree with roots, you have roots that are connected to your ancestors. And when you feel like you cannot continue, take your shoes off, plant your feet on the ground, and just breathe. Looking at me here, when I became a mother to my eldest perfection there, you can see how I'm holding her. I don't believe I put her down for at least 6 months. She was mine. I did that. I was so incredibly proud, so incredibly intoxicated with her. And at that moment, I became the most powerful version of the woman I could ever be, because I became a mother. Something new overtook me. And what I realized was nothing stays the same. The advice that I would give her, and that I give to my children as they move through different phases in their life, is nothing stays the same. Everything changes. Sometimes you like the change, sometimes you don't. If you don't like the change, dig deep. Dig deep and hold on tight. It's a hell of a ride. But at the end of it, everything seems massive when you're that age. And to be honest, your journey hasn't even started yet. It's not massive. It's the beginning of what could be an incredible ride, as long as you remain in the driver's seat. Remember who you are, remember what you are, and remember that your energy was needed in this world. That is why you were born. And if you do not know what you're meant to be doing, find out. Why am I here? Ask the heavens, why am I here? If I can't do this and I can't do that, if a door keeps shutting in your face, you are not meant to be doing that. Find the door that doesn't shut. Dig deep. Remember who you are. And remember that a lot of women have come before you. And now it's your turn to represent them. Nothing stays the same. And if nothing seems to be changing, change it.